Welcome to Tech Startup Stories, hosted by Natalie Binns. This is the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of the B2B startup world.
Hi, I'm Natalie Binns, and I'm the host of Tech Startup Stories. This podcast is really designed to share the unique and challenging journeys of all the people that are building small startups to scale-ups in the tech space. My background? Initially, I was in sales, and then I moved into marketing, and I've been lucky enough to work with some amazing tech companies. But my passion is really startups. And that led me back to helping tech startups set up their marketing and go-to-market functions where the budgets are tight and the resources are few and far between. So let's get into this week's podcast. Hi, everyone. I am so excited to speak with Mike Adams this week. Mike is the founder and CEO, serial entrepreneur, has invested in way too many companies for me to name, and now is the founder of a incredible new platform that is MarTech and sales tech kind of blended in, called Introstars. And from what I understand, it's really a huge change in how salespeople and marketing people do business. And it's really a referral platform that helps you monetize every single introduction that you make and receive. So welcome to the show, Mike. Really glad to have you here. Thanks for joining.
What a pleasure to be here. I love to have a conversation with you. We had so much fun in our previous conversations. I definitely want to bring this and share this with a wider audience. So thank you so much for having me.
Brilliant. Well, tell me, I don't even know your story. Tell me about how did you get into all of this stuff?
I started off as a very shy kid. I was a super nerd, programming video games when I was 10 years old, in front of a computer screen all day. So I didn't have to talk to anyone. And my dream life would be to be a software programmer, playing video games all day. But it turned out my life went a very different direction, and I became a professional presenter, professional networker, and professional introducer, talking to people all day long, every single day, going to more than 1,000 networking events in person. So yeah, my life took me in a very different direction. It started about 10 years ago. Someone took me to my first ever networking event, which was the London Chamber of Commerce. And I went there. I didn't know what to expect. I went to the bar to order a glass of water, started talking to the guy next to me, and then someone else, and someone else, someone else. And very quickly, I had worked the entire room, spoke to everyone there, and I had so much fun and had really interesting conversations, learning about what other people were doing. And I will always ask them, like, how can I help you? What's your biggest challenge right now? What are you trying to achieve? And everyone always told me, introductions. Everyone's looking for introductions to their ideal customer, to their ideal investor, to their ideal business partner. So everyone's looking for referrals and introductions. So after that event, I went to another one, and very quickly I became addicted to networking and ended up going to 15 events a week, 3 events a day for 2.5 years, to 1,000 events. And then I realized lots of other people going to all these networking events, really have a close, trusted circle of professional networkers sending referrals to each other and introductions to each other. And I realized that's where the value is. The value is in warm referrals and warm introductions, because that cannot be, that really is built on effort and building relationships with people. And so when I talk to most sales leaders, B2B salespeople, startup founders, agency owners, etc., and I ask them, what's your biggest struggle? It's nearly always lead generation. Lead generation is the core of everyone's problem, which is how to get new customers, how to acquire new customers. And most people are doing cold emails, cold calls all day. And the response rates are crashing. People are not picking up the phone anymore. No one reads cold emails anymore. So I thought, no, I need to focus on warm referrals, warm introductions, and scale it. And so my journey over the last 10 years has been to build really the simplest, easiest platform to allow millions of people to get warm introductions to their ideal customers and to reward the people making those introductions, the introducers, right? And making sure everyone's a winner, both the people receiving introductions so they can close deals and the people making the introductions because they open up opportunities. So it's bringing all these people together. And so my journey over the last 28 years, I've worked in sales and marketing for 9 different companies, including Apple, HP, Zoom, lots of tech companies. I love tech. I'm a super nerd at heart. But I love to incentivize people, help people, educate people, and connect people together. So today, if you ask me, how I define myself, it's just a networker and a connector. That's it. I love to connect people and bring people together. And I think that's how we make the world a better place. Everyone's being polarized by political ideas, religious ideas. Everyone's being pulled apart. I want to bring people together, connect people, introduce people, create opportunities. And that's how we're going to make the world a better place. And I want to incentivize other people to be super connectors and introducers and becoming matchmakers. I think that's the side hustle of the future.
I love it. 15 networking events a week, did you say? That's
today
insane.
I've gone down to 10 events a week. So
You've gone down. Okay. So just a few 10 events a week. When do you actually sleep?
Not much, but it's fine. I drink lots of coffee. I love to talk to people. It energizes me. Every time you have an interesting conversation with someone, it gives you more energy, more motivation, and you want to talk to even more people. So last night I actually did a dinner with 10 different super connectors, just to share our life experiences. How do we connect people? How do we introduce people? And really sharing that energy and that love for connection.
Got it. So go from being, that introverted geek, self-proclaimed nerd that you said before when you were a kid. Have you continued the kind of love for technology throughout that journey? And in terms of building your own platform, how hands-on have you been in that process?
100%. So I'm a super geek still today. I read lots of tech news every day. I studied computer science in university as well as business, and so I do understand how tech is built. You can put me in front of a developer, and I can talk JavaScript frameworks all day long and how to build apps. But I cannot write a single line of code anymore. So I don't get my hands dirty. I can't actually write any code. I'm not that technical, but I can talk to developers all day long and make them believe I'm a developer, right? So when I built my platform, Introstars, I made a lot of very technical decisions. So I was having conversations with developers, what JavaScript framework to use, what database to use, what hosted service to use, how to structure the app, what kind of app are we building? Is it a website or a native app or a hybrid app? So all these kinds of conversations are quite technical. And most other startup founders I meet, it's completely over their head. Like they have zero understanding of it. They're business people. They're very smart, very sharp, but they just kind of give all of that to a technical person to sort out. Whereas I'm much more hands-on. Like I'm speaking to developers. I don't look at their code, but I'm very prescriptive about this is what I want to build. This is what it has to look like. This is the user experience I expect. So yeah, I'm still very much hands-on in terms of understanding how technology is built, even if I don't code myself, right? And I enjoy it. I love it. I'm reading news articles about new JavaScript frameworks and new ways to build apps and new hybrid frameworks. And, I think it's fascinating. The whole world of web apps versus websites versus native apps, iOS versus Android, all this stuff. I think it's fascinating. It's really interesting. And it evolves very fast. Like every 3 months there's something new, right? It's always changing. And obviously AI is changing everything, obviously, right? That's kind of changing for everything. But the interesting part is my personal app, Introstars, doesn't use any AI because I want to.
Really?
No, very surprising, right? Because I want to focus on humans, on human interaction, on human connection, on human to human. Like effectively, human relationships cannot be replaced by AI. This is what we're good at, is building connection, building emotion, building trust, building partnerships. That's all about human to human. That's what I want to focus my energy on. That's what I'm good at. That's the word I want to spread around me instead of trying to throw everything into AI and let AI sort it out. No, like we need to focus on being human.
It's interesting. I think we've spent the last sort of 15 years, maybe slightly longer, focusing on the buyer's journey being fully digital. And, doing all of our research without speaking to a salesperson and finding everything that we can find online and watching videos and doing all those things. And I saw something on LinkedIn yesterday where, because to your point earlier, there's been this abundance of emails being, bombarding people, the bots that are out there that are just churning out these emails to people. We're starting to see that shift back to, kind of hitting the phones, cold calling, if you like, warm calling, and that face-to-face engagement, which did seem to kind of move away. I mean, the pandemic obviously promoted people, to stay at home and not to engage in face-to-face. But what do you think is gonna be the next shift in terms of buyers' behaviors, in the next few years, especially with AI coming up and that keyword that you just mentioned, trust, with the human relationships. What do you think is gonna change in the coming years for B2B, sales engagement?
I think more and more people are relying on recommendations and referrals. Like if you talk to most IT managers or decision makers at big companies, they get bombarded by 5,000 emails per day. Like they don't even read that anymore. The only thing they do read is stuff which has been forwarded to them by someone they trust. Like if someone recommended a specific product to them, someone they know and trust, recommend a specific product or a specific company, they will look into it. Obviously, they will do that. But if they get like a cold message, a cold email, cold call, it's not going to work anymore. It's just that's completely dead. That game is dead. And I think sophisticated buyers are going to start using AI spam filters to block all incoming emails and all incoming calls from people they don't know, from people who are not in their address book, right? And so cold outreach, cold calls, cold emails, at some point will go to zero. Like the success rate, the response rate will go to zero. Not yet. Today you can still maybe have 0.8% response rate. Maybe today it still works, but give it a couple of years, it will go to zero. And so effectively, the shift which is happening is really focusing purely on trusted people and trusted advisors, surrounding yourself with trusted advisors, and you listen to what they say, consultants, advisors, trusted people in your circle, people you worked with before, people in your company. And so really, it's all about human curation, like humans recommending something to you. And this doesn't apply just in business. It applies in everything in life. Like when I go on vacation, I go to a new city. I'm going to go to Taipei in October. If I Google coolest things to do in Taipei, I'm going to get 5,000 Google results, and I'm going to spend hours reading all that through that stuff. And I don't know what's good or not. But if one of my friends has been to Taipei, say, Mike, you have to go to this restaurant. You have to go to this thing. I will immediately put that on my to-do list, right? That's a play because it comes from someone I trust, right? So in my personal life, this is how it works. You like human curation from trusted people. And in business life, it's the same. It's you only trust from information from people you know. And especially with AI, there's so much AI spam out there and wrong information and fake news and fake reviews. And like you can't trust anything anymore. Like we become insensitized where we don't trust anything unless it comes from someone you know. Like any email I get, I automatically assume it was written by AI spam bots, right? Even if it was not, I just assume, yeah, it's probably written by AI. So I don't trust.
I think there's just been an abundance of information thrown at us, and it's not slowing down. To your point, it's going to continue to grow. So, given that you are from a technical background, you are a serial networker. You've got this, great network. You're a super networker, and you're kind of getting out there. You've invested in other companies. Um, Talk to me about the Introstars team. Are you going it alone? Have you got a team around you? It sounds like you've got some developers that you're working with. What has been your experience with the team getting the product to where it is today?
So obviously, when you build a company from scratch, a startup, you need to see, what is the best way to structure the team. Do you need someone, just a developer, a business person, a marketing person, a designer? And personally, my skills are mostly sales and marketing. I'm not a developer. I'm not a designer. And so from the very beginning, I thought I would need a developer to build the code. That was clear. But that developer needs to start from from some kind of design. And so
Mhm.
very early, I thought I can't just hire a developer. I first need to hire a designer to actually design the UI, the UX, the user journey, the user interface, etc. And so I spent a lot of time looking at either hiring an individual designer, a UX UI designer, or an agency. And same thing for developers. Should I hire an agency or a single developer or a team of developers? So these are questions every founder has to ask themselves. Like, what is the best way forward? And there's no right and wrong answer. There's pros and cons to everything. So for example, in terms of design, I end up working with an agency based in the Czech Republic in Prague called Humble Team. They're very good. They've worked on 150 apps in Silicon Valley, doing purely UX UI design. So no code. They don't program anything. It's just UX UI, so the user journey, product screenshots, UI design, etc. So I worked for 4 months with them to do all my designs. So that's why Introstars looks amazing. It looks like $1 billion app, because I pushed them really hard. But the reality, I was very hands-on. Like, I know what I want. I'm very hands-on. I was very directive. I went lots of back and forth, right? So it's not, I didn't just delegate it to them. Like, I was very much involved every single day in every decision, right? But I worked with them. And so that took about 4 months. And after I had my full designs, UX, UI, etc., then I looked for a developer to actually build the code, to make it work, right?
Sure.
And so I went through actually 3 developers. So I went through quite a lot of interviews. I work with recruiters, recruitment agencies, recruitment websites, LinkedIn. I worked on loads and loads of different options. Interviewed hundreds of people, and at the end of the day, it was all based on personality. Because when you hire a developer, there's millions of developers out there who can code, who can build an app, but you need to get along with them. You need to have a similar mission, values. Have to have great communication between you. So I ended up interviewing really a lot of developers, like I don't know the exact number, nearly 100 developers. And I started working with one developer. Then I worked with a second developer. And I worked with a third developer. So now I'm working with an amazing developer called Mate. He's incredible. He's a superstar. He's got 15 years experience. He's worked in 150 companies, startups, enterprise, public sector. So no, he's amazing. So he's the developer I'm working with now. And then I've got lots of advisors. So I've got lots of advisors and mentors who are helping me, giving me advice, mentorship, direction. I bounce ideas off of them. And one of my main mentors and advisors is actually my brother Greg. He's based in the US near Washington, D.C. And he's a super connector. He's got 27,000 connections. He speaks 7 languages. He's been to 80 countries in the world. He's a very impressive, like super smart guy. And so he's worked in sales, in tech. He used to work for the US military. So yeah, very, very interesting person to work with. And so he helps me a lot as well. So I surround myself with really smart people. People who are smarter than me to give me advice. But then, I speak to users every week, to ask them for feedback, advice, to improve the product. So we launched Introstars a bit more than a year ago, version 1.0, and now we're at version 2.0. We've added like 35 more features, like based on user feedback, of course, based on user conversations. So the product has evolved quite a lot based on user. So, and I've got a super long roadmap ahead for version 3, version 4, version 5, version 6. So, we've got lots of stuff to work on, exciting stuff, still under wraps, again, based on user feedback, right? Lots of ideas.
And it sounds like for our audience and, the people that we have on this show who are typically founders, co-founders of startups, all trying to make their name, all trying to get out there, grow their business, find their target audience. This sounds like it could be something huge for them to get into. Where do you think the biggest use case is for people signing up for your platform, or use cases?
So when you talk to startup founders, once they have a product built, their number one issue will be to find customers, paying customers,
Sure.
of course, right? And so lead generation will always be a problem, because if you're a startup founder, you don't necessarily have all the right connections to your ideal prospects. Maybe you do if you come from that industry. Maybe you already know lots of people. Maybe you don't. And so really, as a startup founder, what you need are warm introductions and referrals to potential clients, to big clients. And so that's where Introstars can really help startup founders. Like, they can just sign up on Introstars, describe their ideal customer profile, post it on the platform, and start receiving warm introductions and referrals to those ideal customers to close large deals. So that's really an ideal solution for startup founders, agency owners, recruiters, anyone who works in B2B sales, looking for warm referrals. Introstars is going to help them. And then on the other hand, startup founders or people working in sales all need a bit of extra cash, to pay their bills and to pay their mortgage. And so having a side hustle is useful for lots of people, including startup founders. And so anyone can sign up on Introstars as an introducer and use that as a side hustle to make introductions for other people on Introstars. And you get paid a few £1,000s for every successful introduction you make. So this is a perfect side hustle because it's very easy. Like making an introduction takes 5 minutes. It's like 3 emails, super easy. And boom, you can earn $5,000 just like that. So I'm encouraging anyone to start making more introductions and getting paid for it. So again, Introstars is a perfect side hustle for millions of people, whether you work in B2B sales, whether you're a recruiter, or even a startup founder and need to get a bit more cash, to pay to run your startup, right? So
Please.
again, Introstars can really be used on both sides of it, as an introducer or as an intro seeker, right?
That makes sense. And, this isn't the first journey that you've been on. You've been doing this before. You said 10 years ago was kind of where you started to see the need for something like this. But what surprised you about this journey in particular so far?
Yeah. So when you launch a startup, you've got lots of ideas in your head on how it should go and how fast it should grow and how fast you're going to acquire customers and how much it's going to cost and how long it's going to take to build features, etc. Everything is always harder than you thought and takes longer than you thought and costs more than you thought. Always, always. It's a golden rule in startups. Um, there's always unforeseen circumstances. There's always obstacles thrown into your face, which you didn't see coming. There's always roadblocks and issues you didn't expect. And that's, of course, a startup journey. That is literally the description of any startup, right? But I went through all of those. We've had lots of issues, lots of bugs in the app. I had to switch developers twice. It's already my third developer. That was not foreseen. I thought I would hire one developer and it would stay with him forever. That didn't happen, clearly. Again, unforeseen circumstances. Life happens. And then, so many things, like one of the things when I built Introstars initially, it's a two-sided marketplace. On the one side, you've got intro seekers looking to receive intros and introducers who are making intros to get paid. When I launched, I thought the hardest part would be to recruit intro seekers to sign them up on the platform, because I thought it would be super easy to find introducers because everyone wants to earn 5 or 10 grand to make an introduction. It's super obvious. Well, it turned out to be the exact opposite. It's actually super easy to find intro seekers because everyone's looking for introductions. Every B2B salesperson in the world is desperate for leads. So actually recruiting intro seekers has been super easy. Everyone I speak to at every networking event is happy to sign up on Introstars in 5 clicks. Super easy. However, finding introducers to get them to go out of their way to actually use the platform to make an introduction. And so really, I've pivoted to focus all my effort and all my energy on recruiting introducers instead of intro seekers. So that's something I had not foreseen. Like that's really just been a surprise just doing it. And then also slightly pivoting where initially I thought anyone could sign up as an introducer, anyone can build a side hustle. And that's still the case. But I've realized the more successful ones are people who are already super connectors, people who are already making introductions day in, day out, even without Introstars. And so I slightly pivoted to focus my attention on these super connectors. And so I've launched a podcast called The Super Connectors, where I interview people who define themselves as super connectors. And I've started doing dinners with super connectors and events with super connectors to really build that community of super connectors and bring them together. And again, that's something I've learned, along the way, right? So you learn every day. And so now my launch strategy to launch Introstars in more cities is to work with super connectors in each city I'm going to launch in. So my next is going to be New York in a few weeks, and I'm working with 3 super connectors in New York who are bringing me their connected community on Introstars and helping me launch over there. And after New York, many more cities will follow. Again, working with local super connectors who have their own community of super connectors in those cities.
Amazing. And what cities are you in at the moment?
London. Right now we're in London.
London.
London is booming. We're at more than 1,000 users. It's growing every day. It's amazing. We started making revenue. So it's really exciting. And so next is New York. That's obviously a big launch. After that, San Francisco, then LA, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and then global domination after that. Taking over the world, inspiring millions of people to make more introductions to become super connectors.
Fantastic. I'm definitely going to be signing up. So with all of that, with all that extra work, the hands-on stuff that you're doing, the months that you're spending building this platform, the 10 networking sessions you're doing a week now, what on earth are you doing to unwind and relax? I get that you love doing this, and I feel that, I understand it, but what are you actually doing to relax and unwind from all of this energy that you're kind of giving out and absorbing?
You know what? Most people always talk about work-life balance and your work and your personal life and having clear boundaries, et cetera, et cetera. I'm in the complete opposite camp where there is zero difference between my work and my personal life. They're the same. They're one and the same. And so I don't even consider it as work. I
Okay.
consider it as life. I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun every day. Everything I do is for a good cause. My spiritual mission in life is to connect a million people in the world and make the world a better place. So everything I do is towards that spiritual mission. And so it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm always having fun. I go to a networking event. Is it work? Is it fun? It's both. I'm
Uh-huh.
relaxing, enjoying it. I go, I'm doing some videos. I'm doing my podcast, the Super Connectors on LinkedIn. Is that work? Is that fun? It's both. It's all good. So I don't feel that need to unwind, like I need to disconnect from the world. I don't really feel that need. However, having said that, I enjoy life. I go to the park. I live in central London in Soho, and it's a 5-minute walk from St. James Park in front of Buckingham Palace. There's a
Mhm.
beautiful lake with like squirrels and ducks and geese. And I just go there. I feel like Mary Poppins. I've got all these animals jumping onto me. Like I just love it. For me, that's my happy place. That's all I need. 5-minute walk to the park, and all my, everything's perfect. Everything's fabulous. That's very easy to unwind. And then no, I love massage. I love spas. I love to travel. I'm also a travel hacker. So travel hacking is finding ways to manipulate credit cards to get millions of airline miles for free, and then spending those miles to travel all over the world in business and first class for free. So I do travel a lot. Last year I took 31 flights. This year I've already booked 22 flights. The year before I did 40 flights. So I unwind all over the world. I mean, it's all workation, right? While I'm traveling, I'm obviously working as well. As a startup founder, you never stop. But yeah, it's all good. So life is amazing. I can't complain.
I haven't heard that term before, workation. It makes sense. I get that. I've had to do a couple of those myself, and it definitely makes sense. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. And you really are such a force, and I'm sure everybody listening is going to be rushing to sign up for Introstars, either to make some money or to get the lead gen that they need and help them grow their businesses or find what they need. I do think that trusted approach is key. And actually, this week I've had a number of people ask me, who can I speak to for this? Who would you recommend I talk to for that? It happens every single day, and I'm sure that everybody listening to this podcast will have recommendations for every situation. And, you're probably being asked those questions today. So you might as well formalize it and get it on intro stars.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. If you're helping other people, it's all great. But if they close £100,000 deal, you should get rewarded, right? It should be fair. Everyone needs to be fairly compensated. So it's all about helping others. You're not doing anything for money. You're doing things to help others because you've got a good heart and you're a good person. You want to make the world a better place. But on the other hand, you need to be fairly compensated. Everyone has to be a winner. So it's finding that right balance, right? And I think Introstars is trying to strike that balance and make the world a better place, but make shitloads of money for introducers as well.
That's it for this episode of Tech Startup Stories. Have a story you'd like us to share or a topic you'd want to cover? Reach out and we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care.